The knife plunged deep, and his servants wept at the sight. But Cato the Younger did not scream. He reached inside. He was pulling out his own entrails, defying Caesar's mercy. This was not madness. It was the final Stoic argument. In 46 BCE, virtue demanded a suicide more brutal than war, and Rome watched, horrified and utterly fascinated by the spectacle. To understand this, you must see the world they lived in. The air smelled of incense, blood, and simmering political dread. Power was a game where the loser's entire family could vanish. Philosophy was not a hobby, it was a shield for the mind. Panidius of Rhodes had given the Greek ideas a Roman suit. He taught the elite that duty and moderation were true nobility. But emperors like Nero preferred spectacle over stoic restraint, which is why Seneca, his tutor, became his greatest threat. Seneca wrote that reason should govern all things, even death. Nero's reason, however, pointed to a conspiracy that needed purging. The order arrived. Seneca was to open his own veins. He did so in a warm bath, surrounded by weeping friends. He kept speaking of philosophy until his voice faded forever. You see, for them, the final act was the ultimate text. It was the proof that their philosophy was not just words. And the audience for this text was history itself. Another senator, Thrasea, chose the same stage for his end. He had criticized Nero. His punishment was foretold and accepted. When the executioner arrived, Thrasea was already discussing the soul's fate. His calm was not resignation. It was a calculated victory. He bled on his own terms, denying Nero the satisfaction of fear. But could a philosophy of acceptance truly change the world? Or was it just a way to die with dignity intact? Then came the paradox, an emperor who tried to live it. Marcus Aurelius wrote his Meditations in cold tents on the frontier. He called himself a servant of the gods, not their master. Plague decimated his armies. He applied Stoic ethics to governance. He believed virtue was the only true good, but power complicates. Could he be both the philosopher and the butcher of wars? The Stoic answer was duty, and duty demanded brutal choices. Perhaps the greatest tension lived within the emperor's own mind. The freed slave Epictetus distilled the doctrine to its purest form. Some things are within our control, most things are not. Freedom, he taught, is wanting only what is truly yours. This was the code that armed Cato, Seneca, and Thrasea. It allowed them to smile, while the world took everything else. But when you look closer, the cracks begin to show. Was Seneca's wealth a betrayal of Stoic simplicity? Was Marcus Aurelius' persecution of Christians a failure of tolerance? The philosophy demanded perfection. The men were tragically human. Their deaths were grand gestures. But did tyranny even flinch? Or did their blood simply stain the stones for a season? Now, centuries later, we are left alone with their questions. We sit in our relative safety, pondering their impossible choice. What would you do if all you could control was your end? Would you choose the bath, the blade, or the battlefield? Their answer was clear. Virtue was the only eternal thing. And maybe that's what truly frightens us about their story. Not the blood, not the knives, but the terrifying peace. That in the face of absolute loss, they found absolute freedom. It's a peace that asks everything of you and offers nothing. Subscribe to Chronicles history, because some truths refuse to stay buried. The knife plunged deep, and his servants wept at the sight. But Cato the Younger did not scream. He reached inside.